When I was 17 years old, I did my apprenticeship through a company that hired subcontractors from time to time for bigger projects. The owner of this company I was working for was a pretty cruel guy. And I was working with this one subcontractor when it all of a sudden dawned on me that this particular contractor never spoke evil of my boss. So I asked him why and how he could remain so calm under these circumstances. And he told me that he was a Christian. And from there on proceeded to share his faith. He then told me about a church in my area, which I attended. I gave my life to the Lord. And the rest is history, as they say. I know of another pastor that grew up in a gangster family. His father was a gangster, his brothers all were part of a gang. And he went to a camp with a bunch of boys. I can't remember what he did. But I know he attended a week camp with a bunch of other boys. And he said there was a certain boy in the group that was a Christian. And everybody mocked this boy. The pastor himself, he said, he was one of the people that used to mock this guy for his beliefs. But this guy never retaliated. The pastor says on his way back on the bus, he could not get this boy out of his mind. It kept on bugging him, how this boy could just stay so calm in the midst of all their silly jokes and pranks. He went on to give his life to the Lord, and he became a pastor. And he says it was because of this, the way that this young boy acted. He doesn't even know the name of that boy. I can't track the guy who led me to the Lord. He won't be able to track that guy. But our lives got changed permanently by those two people. We don't realize the impact that we can have on somebody's life. You can be the reason somebody goes home today angry and go fights with his family members because you treated him bad. Or you can be the reason somebody goes home and tells them about Jesus. 2 Timothy 4 verse 2 says, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season. It says we should be ready to share the gospel at any time. Oftentimes we are so scared to share it because we don't know if it will impact their lives. But it will. 1 Peter 3:15 says, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks of you a reason of the hope which is in you with meekness and fear. Has anybody ever asked you the reason for your peace, the reason for your joy? If that's never come up in a conversation, you need to check your life. Our lives need to be in such a way that somebody would ask us, what makes you different? In order for us to share the gospel with them. We need to be ready to share because we don't know how much we can impact somebody's life. We need to ask God for boldness to share. Acts 4 verse 29 says, and now, Lord, behold their threatenings, and grant unto thy servants that with all boldness they may speak thy word. They were just giving hidings for sharing their faith. And they were still asking for boldness to continue sharing. Paul's asking the churches in his epistles, he's asking them to pray that he may have boldness to continue sharing his faith. We need to pray for boldness. And then we need to act on it. We need to believe that God is with us. Let Him guide us. If you truly love people, you are going to want to share the gospel with them. Just think about the way it changed your life, the gospel. Maybe you've got a similar story where somebody told you about God. If you were fortunate, you had your parents. But maybe somebody else was an example, which you said, I also want this for my life. Today you can be that person to change somebody else's life. Go do it. God bless.